Alright, so it feels like a lot of times nowadays, at least in the last 5 or 10 years. Wow, that makes me sound old. But it feels like we're just constantly comparing our lives to other people. And it's probably from social media feeds to maybe real life conversations. Jealousy has become more of a kind of constant background noise in a lot of our minds. And it kind of makes jealousy the kind of new normal in very, very subtle ways. And if it is, how do we rise above it? So that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. And I think I'll start with, again, I feel like the history of jealousy it's not new, right? It's a natural human emotion. But lately it seems to be pretty much everywhere you look. Sometimes we feel it when we see someone succeed, maybe when someone has something that we want, or maybe even when someone's life just appears better than ours, right? But why is jealousy so much more intense today than ever before? And I think social media is definitely one part to play within it. A lot of platforms that exist where you kind of show yourself like a personal brand. It pretty much gives everyone access to their kind of, I guess you could say, highlight reel, where the sort of best of the best is always showcased, right? It's not real life. It's the best and probably the most polished version of it. Like a filter. And then when you kind of compare these highlights, or at least filtered out content, to our sort of unfiltered reality, it's really easy to feel kind of inadequate. And that's the trap, because we kind of compare our sort of realistic lives to a filtered version of someone else's where we don't know anything about the person. And a lot of times it could be anyone. I mean, maybe you see someone online who's doing pretty well at a younger age than you, and then you get this kind of bitter feeling. That's not good, and it shouldn't really happen. And even beyond social media, I mean, jealousy probably did exist. Not probably, it did. And growing up, I feel like just generally, we live in a world that kind of thrives off competition, right? That's just the nature of reality on this planet. In all of the animal kingdom, to from school to work, maybe even friendships, to be honest, because we're kind of constantly pushed to become our best, and your environment is going to be pretty much everything that you surround yourself with, and it's going to play a really, really big impact in terms of how you think, how you operate, right? And when someone else kind of gets what you're striving for, it makes you feel like you're falling behind. It makes you feel like you're inadequate. And then that's when the sort of feelings of resentment and jealousy or envy might start to kind of creep in. And maybe even unconsciously it does that without you even realizing. And then pair that with like FOMO, it's more than just envy. Then you start to get anxiety because you feel like you're being left behind, right? And it might make you feel that life is kind of passing by us whilst other people are living it to the fullest. And I mean, especially I feel like when you get to your 20s and maybe even beyond, there's probably going to be a lot of FOMO that exists between a lot of people. Mainly because, they might be seeing that other peers or other people their age, or maybe even classmates, they seem to be doing well. Again, seem, right? Because that's all we can see on the internet and the kind of way we showcase ourselves to the world. It's not always our authentic self. But upon showing that, it might seem like everyone's got their kind of, like they got their stuff together, right? They've got their life together in a sense. But we don't know that. Yet we kind of assume that they do. And then as a result, we let that kind of narrative or thought process take over us and feeds us pretty bad emotions. Again, with the whole resentment and jealousy thing, they're not good things to feel. They shouldn't even exist in the first place. And that's why jealousy, it doesn't really hurt other people alone. Like, I mean, it does, because again, that's like feelings that you're sort of having towards someone else, bad feelings. We shouldn't do that. We're all the same. We're all human at the end of the day. But it also hurts us internally, really, really badly. It makes us feel like a lot more bitter. It heightens our insecurities, and maybe even disconnecting from the world around us, the things that you care about, the things that sort of gave you life before. And then obviously over time it can damage your relationships, your own life. It can prevent you from moving forward. It can prevent you from celebrating your own successes. And you take everything for granted without even realizing it. So it's a really, really nasty thing that I think nobody really talks about, and it should have a lot more sort of coverage, because it stems from insecurity, because you feel like you're not adequate enough. You feel like you're not complete in yourself, and so you look for it elsewhere, and you feel like those feelings are only associated with certain things like success or whatever you're comparing yourself to, or people that you're comparing yourself to, right? But here's the thing, because someone else's success doesn't take away from your own potential, not in the slightest. Because it's a thought process, it means that you are in complete control of where you can go and direct this. Instead of seeing their wins as a threat, you could always reframe them as inspiration. You could always transmute it into something productive, or maybe even fuel to get yourself better. And again, one of the best ways to kind of combat jealousy as well is by practicing gratitude, because when you're grateful for having things, you feel more complete within yourself. You feel like you deserve nice things. You feel like you're very accepting of everything, right? So it's really, really, really important to practice gratitude in any way, shape or form. It doesn't have to be your typical thanking God or however you've been sort of brought up to do it. As long as you're thankful in any kind of regard, that's more than enough. Because you are way more blessed than you think. Someone else has it way worse than you outside. Because trust me, you even got access to the internet where you're watching this video, which means that you're really, really blessed. And from that, stop comparing yourself to other people, please. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, if you've gotten better or not. If you haven't, you've still got time to change yourself. Celebrate every small win, honestly, because as cheesy as it is, and you've probably heard it a million times, one step forward is still one step forward closer to your goals. And then take a break from social media, man. It's not real. It's just a place to kind of shine. It's to be expected. Everyone's going to be sort of posting their sort of gems of highlights and stuff like that. That's just how it is. Alright. As humans, we like to seek who's at the top of the competition. I guess is part of our nature. So understand that. Take a step back from it. Set boundaries with your screen time if you need to. And really realize that it's not the full picture of reality. All that matters is what's going on in your own life. And you can only change the world by changing yourself first. And so jealousy might feel like it's like the new normal, but it doesn't have to define you by any means. Shift your perspective, practice gratitude, focus on your own journey, and then you can start to break free from the cycle of comparison, because you've probably been binded by the chains of it. Your worth isn't measured by what other people have. It's measured by who you are, and you are more than enough. And if you feel like you're not, you definitely have the strength to become more than enough. So do what you will with this. Thank you for watching, and peace and blessings be upon you.